And then after a couple of months of, a couple of computer-generated, thanks, we have your resumes, it's all of a sudden you start realizing, what have I really done here? And oh my God, I just wasted 2 months of my time here. And I mean, the sad thing is, for the most part, you did, unless you get really lucky. And so it's, the sooner you can get out, the better. It's still talking about, what we might do to do things better, more quickly. Going to these events, listening to speakers that go to these libraries and talk, like myself, but you probably want to go see some smart ones too. When you're reading articles, things like, I read something on one of the major job boards the other day, and it was, 1 in 3 people actually have their cover letters read, and 2 in 3 employers will not read a cover letter. So never do a cover letter. Never do a cover letter, because only 1 in 3 are being read. Never.
You're wasting a lot of time by doing it. But
1 in 3 to me, 1 in 3 are being read. Do the cover letter.
Do the cover letter.
Of course, okay, 1 in 3 are being read. I take that data and I think, who would say never read a cover letter? Because only 1 in 3 are being read. That is just horrible advice.
But you talk about advice, and I think that's a real problem we have out there, because not every career strategy company or entity really has their pulse on what's going on. I mean, isn't it really a minefield out there for a job seeker? I mean, who do you trust? I'm not the expert at it, but I believe that many of your so-called career experts are still living in the 20th century.
Yeah, there's that.
Resumes and having it on good paper and all that kind of stuff that is really archaic at this point, isn't it?
Right. I mean, if they can't talk to social media, blogging, and inbound marketing tactics, then they're not current.
Okay. Let's talk about that, because I think, Paul, you have an excellent point. I have the resume, and let's just say it's pretty good in terms of, it's somewhat forward thinking, forward directed, but I'm not good with that. There needs to be more, doesn't there, in today's? And maybe you can talk to some of the things that need to be done. You need a Facebook page. You need other things. Yeah,
and building a resume that is impact heavy and and really future focused, action based. It's you'll read that you shouldn't have an objective on a resume, that it pigeonholes you. And that's just another area that I just can't disagree more. If your objective, which is the answer to what are you looking for, is pigeonholing you and it not going to let you get a particular job, then why the hell are you applying for that job? It's your objective. That's what you want to. It's your mission statement for the campaign. It's what you want to meet. It's it's the goal. It's got to be on there. Not only that, you better be very good at communicating it. So it's not only on there, it's highlighted. It's everything else is built off of it. But most people would say don't have one. As far as LinkedIn, LinkedIn is giving us, or Facebook, social media in general, Twitter, they are giving us venue to personalize ourselves a little bit. We're starting to let people in. That two-dimensional resume is being supplemented right now by LinkedIn profiles and Facebook walls and those kinds of things. We used to compare a two-dimensional, this is 3 years ago, two-dimensional resume to a three-dimensional resume. The two-dimensional resume was an accountant in Stanford. The three-dimensional resume was the same accountant in Stanford, but it was a personal ad in the Stanford Advocate, actually. And which one would you hire? And every time the whole room would say the personal ad guy, and we'd say, well, it's the same guy, but here, he's just trying to get a job. Here, he's trying to get a date. And he lets people in. So you absolutely would have hired the personal ad. And it was cherry picked. It was a good example to prove the point. But
you mean someone actually putting an ad in, seeking to be employed?
No, I wouldn't go that far. But the point of if you just wrote a standard resume up to right now as to how we view that, it really is not. You don't get any idea who the person is. This piece of paper that talks about history and some experience stuff and some jargon and some certifications and proficiencies. It's just, but if you read somebody's LinkedIn profile, or 3 years ago their personal ad in the Stanford Advocate, I mean, you know that they practice magic, that they fly planes, that they coach 15 baseball teams, that they played AA baseball. I met with a guy recently that eventually found out he played AA baseball. It wasn't on his resume. Not only should it be on his resume, I mean, he should have told me too, because I mean, I love that. I mean, I think that's great, and not resume worthy. I don't get that. That to me says so much about that guy. I mean, it's he did what it took to get to that level. You're not all born with it. It's in terms of dedication, integrity, hard working, reliability. I don't need to know anything more. He played AA baseball.
That's interesting you say that, because not everything, I would imagine, and please comment, is a cookie cutter scenario. If, let's say, you're going through a career transition, you can use some of the attributes and accomplishments you've done in a previous career to market yourself in a new career. Is that correct?
Yeah. And so when you're talking about the new career and the strengths and skills and qualities that you might need to get into that new career, and some of the expected results that they have and the expectations they have of you, you definitely want to validate your abilities to make positive contributions or exceed their expectations. And you do that with your stories and your history. That's where the experience goes. No, I don't see any other purpose for it. But that's a big purpose. Validating skills, strengths, qualities, and characteristics is a huge purpose. But it shouldn't be the lead. It shouldn't be the only document going in. We need to let we need to put that third dimension into either our resumes or our resumes and our LinkedIn profiles. Now, we still, companies still, the most prudent of human resources professionals are still not looking at the LinkedIn profile. So they're not going to take your resume and go figure out the rest of you on a LinkedIn profile. First of all, they have 600 resumes. Second of all, if they see your picture, they could get sued.
So really, that's interesting to me. You're saying that most HR professionals don't take the next step and go to your LinkedIn or your Facebook profile.
Right. Most HR professionals don't do it because they don't have time, because it's buyer's market and there's too many resumes. Some HR professionals, the most prudent human resources professionals, won't go because if they see the picture, they might get sued. In the bigger companies, for example, will tell their human resources people, don't give references and don't look at any pictures. If you see the picture, throw the resume away. Literally.
Now, Paul, we talked a lot about the electronic job search, the job boards and other avenues. But to me, isn't that probably the least efficient way of looking for a job?
Till it works. There isn't one really efficient way to get a job. Unfortunately, the answer today is not that easy. That's actually fortunate for me in my business because it's hard to get good at it. But it's unfortunate for most people. You got to do a million little things right, and you got to do a million things better than everybody else, and you're going to get a job more quickly. That's not rocket science, but you got to do those million things right, and you may never know what you did right and you did wrong. It's hard to track it. There's a lot of issues. We just started working with somebody. I'll say younger, female. We haven't even. We 2 meetings. Haven't had the second face-to-face meeting yet. There was a company that she had applied to this, and she really, really liked the company, and she hadn't heard anything yet. And so in the first meeting, what can we do differently and better than everybody else? Well, call up. You're probably going to get voicemail. Leave a voicemail, 7 seconds long, that shows, and just tell them why you love the company. Give them your phone number and let them know let them know that if they haven't heard, if she hadn't heard from them by Friday, give them a call back, which was 5 days later, just use that 7-second voicemail as an opportunity to show enthusiasm for the company, the products, and the direction they're going.
So it seems, Paul, from your strategic standpoint, you got to obviously do things a lot better, but also being a little more proactive, not just being passive, sitting there sending out resumes on monster.com with a old-style historical document.
Well, staying on this story then, because proactivity is huge today, and for a lot of different reasons. So within 12 hours of her showing enthusiasm, she got an email back saying, we love your enthusiasm. Can you come in for an interview? I mean, it's that simple. You know, and 599 other people didn't do it. She did it, and you know, and who knows what it would, I mean, it might have been her tone, it might have been her way. Hopefully it was the honesty that she demonstrated in the enthusiasm levels that she had in the voicemail. And because I didn't even tell her what to say, I just said, show them, you know, what you think. Tell them what you think. And so she got, let's see, she got an email back saying answer these questions. And so we worked together on answering the questions. She answers them, but you know, I helped structure it a little bit. She got another email back saying, thank you for your thoroughness. And again, the integrity and the enthusiasm levels in your answer. So, you know, things are going well here. And so we send an email back saying, thank you very much. If, you know, let me know when the interview is. I know that the decision maker's traveling next week. If we can get it done this week, I'll rearrange my schedule and we'll get it done this week. Mm-hmm. If I haven't heard from you by Friday, I'll give you a call Friday, see if we can somehow maybe get it even done on Friday. If not, we'll have to do it when the hiring decision maker gets back. And so, that was this morning. She called me this afternoon and said, you know, I haven't heard back yet. You know, what should I do? What? Nothing. I mean, that's why we closed it proactively. That's why we said we're going to call back on Friday. Mm-hmm. We don't have to, you know, just because they haven't responded, that doesn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. They haven't responded. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe their dog got run over that morning. Maybe they're traveling. Maybe.
Just to kind of stick to your plan.
Yeah, and the most likely scenario is the human resources person has gone to the hiring decision maker and said she really wants to come in this week. Can we schedule it before you travel? And the hiring decision maker hasn't gotten back to the human resources person yet to say yes. Mm-hmm. That's really what, I mean, that's what I'm going to find out tonight. Mm-hmm. But you know, left to her own devices, panic, and you know, you've got enthusiasm.
Desperation, I would say would be one of the death knells of a job search, wouldn't it?
Would you, in a buyer's market, would you buy a desperate person?
No.
Not a chance.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, though, is how do you protect yourself from not being desperate? If you've been out of work for 2 months or 3 months and you got bills to pay, I mean, how do you fake it?
You don't. But you could still not talk about it, and you could be positive, upbeat, and enthusiastic, and concentrate on the needs and problems and challenges the companies have, and not about that stuff. That stuff will go away. It'll take care of itself when somebody hires you because you're the right person for the job. Mm-hmm. But you have enthusiasm right here. I view it kind of in a circle, and you've got desperation right there. I mean, they're right next to each other. Mm-hmm. This gets you the job, and that costs you the job. Don't cross the line.
Interesting.
If she called back and said, did you get my email? Some of my emails haven't been going through lately. That may have... you know, she was doing so well, I don't think so. But it could. I mean, it wouldn't be the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. It crosses the line.
Now, you know, we only have a few moments left. Could you talk to your approach at the Birch Group in terms of, you know, what works, what doesn't work? Is your process kind of a fluid operation, meaning you're working with someone, Mr. or Mrs. X, and they're working with the Birch Group for a month, nothing's really happening? Do you kind of readjust things? Do you kind of do debriefings on what's working, what's not? How does it work?
You know, it's that is a great question. And the answer is, I don't know if it's going to sound truthful or not, but I'm going to answer that as honestly as I can. In the end, it always works, and so it's a million little things, and so it's moving this massive, doing the right thing at the right time in a direction eventually. You know, it's going to work.
But that seems to me very optimistic and something that really needs attention. If someone's putting together the right effort, doing their job, working with the Birch Group, in the end, they will get through it, in your belief?
Yeah, we have had a couple of times where we've had to regroup, and something went a little bit wrong, or there was. It's always the client's fault, by the way. But there's a little breakdown in communication. We missed something small, but we know quickly because of the systems that we have and the troubleshooting that we can do. So
great.
We circle back quick and get them going in the right direction, and it works.
And Paul, from the John Birch Group, if our viewers would like to get more information on you and the Birch Group, how can they do that?
Call the Birch Group, Paul Mathews, 860-677-0020, or you can email me at thebirchgroup@snet.net.
Great. Paul Mathews from the Birch Group, thanks so much for being on the Business Buzz, and thank all of you for tuning in to another edition of the Business Buzz. We'll be back next week with another exciting and interesting guest like Paul. Thanks for tuning in.